All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It is 5:37 Eastern Standard Time. We're starting 7 minutes late today. It's been a scramble as we bring back Morning Matters. And yeah, this morning has been, I don't even know if we're going to get to the video today, but it is March 2nd, 2026. And one of the things I enjoyed for a while, I was doing something called Morning Matters, which I've now brought back. I'm bringing it back as part of Bright Futures. And what I want to do in the morning is just, I've found that when I've been waking up pretty early and listening to just sometimes educational, sometimes positive thinking, sometimes business stuff. And, it just gets me in the right mental attitude. And as I'm starting Bright Futures, which is going to be a company that I'm starting about, or a community that I'm starting to help people with being successful, whether it's and the things that I've learned, and mostly it's going to focus on financial wealth and wealth building, going through some rich dad poor dad stuff, but just also now, I've listened to a bunch of. Now my new ones are Alex Hermezi, which I might get to today. It's what I have queued up for today to listen to. But Jim Rohn and Brian Tracy and Zig Ziglar and Les Brown and Anthony Robbins. It was funny yesterday, or a couple of days ago, not yesterday, but I was speaking to someone about, I was like, well, have you heard of Jim Rohn? He's like, no. And I said, well, Jim Rohn is pretty well known, but he was the mentor of Anthony Robbins. So do you know him now? And it's like, no, I don't know what Anthony Robbins is either. So I'm like, okay, there's definitely a market of people who out there who still don't know about these people. And I'm going through also obviously a bunch of imposter syndrome, because it's like, who am I to teach other people how to be successful, and what's the measure of success that they should listen to me? But what I think about what I've been through in my life, and I always say there's two types of people you can learn from. There's the people who have done the things that you want to do, and then there's the people who made all the mistakes, right? And they can share their wisdom with you. And so I've been on this journey for quite some time. I've been up to the top, and I've been down to the bottom, and the objective now is to rise back up to the top. So we're starting that with Morning Matters. And what I've learned, what I've been really focused on recently, is about building a foundation, building my habits, building my rituals, was what Anthony Robbins would call them. And I made my first video yesterday that I'm going to be putting on the community about the paradox of the heap, and the idea that a grain of sand. If you don't know what the paradox of the heap is, you can watch the video, join the community, you'll see the first video, but I'll explain it right now since I brought it up. But the paradox of the heap is simply that if you have a grain of sand, you don't have a heap of sand, right? And if you add one grain of sand, you do not have a heap of sand. You just have people who go, it's 2 grains of sand, and if you add a third grain of sand, you still don't have a heap. And so the point is that you, by adding any one grain of sand, you do not create a heap of sand. However, eventually, if you keep doing this, as we all know, you'll have a heap of sand, right? And subtracting 1 grain of sand when you have a heap of sand will not make you say this is no longer a heap of sand. So there's not one particular grain of sand that constitute a heap or not. It just happens eventually, right? And you can't really pinpoint it. And that's really what happens as far as when you are becoming something in your life, when you're trying to create an identity. It's not necessarily, you might be doing like this one little thing, this 1 grain of sand. You might put $1 in your savings account. You might do one push-up, you might do, one little thing, and you're like, well, that doesn't really amount to something. It's only one. It's not a big deal. If you, I use the example, you want to be a runner, one jog does not make you a runner, right? But if you jog every day, and even if I remember listening to, why can't I think of him? Toughest Man alive. I'm seeing his face in my head, and I'll think of it in a second. But he talked about, why can't I think of his name? Stay hard guy. Goggins, David Goggins. Sorry. Sorry, David. But I remember listening to his, and people like to, I read both his books, and I watched a lot of his videos and a lot of his interviews. And, he talks about how when he made the decision to turn into who he was, right? To David Goggins, he went for a run, and he barely made it, a half mile, and it was 300 and something pounds, and then he quit. He made it like a half mile, and he went home, and he walked home, and he drank a milkshake, and was like, I don't know if this is going to be me. And so, but people want to compare who they are today to, if they look up to David Goggins, who David Goggins is now. And they say, well, I'm going to get up tomorrow and I'm going to run, 4 hours every day I'm going to run 4 hours every 4 hours for 24 hours straight, or 48 hours straight, or whatever that challenge is, right? They're like, I'm just going to go from 0 to, and then if they fail, then they're like, you see, I'm not just not him. I'm not, that's him. That's not me. But you're comparing your beginning to his end. Compare your beginning to your beginning. Actually, don't compare at all. Just do something. Just start. And so, we're not going to get to the video today. So that's what I've done. I saw this video. It's probably one we'll watch. I made a list of videos that we'll watch here, about, it's a Japanese way, and I forget the name of it, but it's basically about, the idea of it is this grain of sand, and it's just doing 1% every day, just improving 1%, moving along. And what I mean by what it means by doing 1%. In the video, they talk about this person who's very overweight, and he's tried many times to lose the weight, and he's done some exercise, and he's done it for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then he gives up, and then he tries something else, and and it's not that he's a bad person, it's not that he's hardworking, it's just, we all, well, not all of us, but a lot of us understand this concept, and whether it's weight or relationships or business or all of them combined, right? For me, I think it's like all of them. It's, you start something, and then you do it for a little bit, and then it goes away, and you stop, and then you reinforce, because that grain of sand works for everything. It doesn't just work in the good way; it works in the bad way. So every single time you quit, every single time you lie to yourself, you lie to other people, you give up on something, you're adding to that heap that you're a quitter or a liar or someone who doesn't follow through, or a lazy person, right? Every time you don't go to the gym, right? So, or follow your plan. And so you're adding to that heap, you're creating that identity. And in your mind, that's who you become, because that's what you've done. That's what you've repeated. Jim Rohn has a statement, you are, I'm going to botch this quote. Well, anyway, I'm not going to botch the quote, but it's basically, every discipline, success is discipline, repeated, daily disciplines repeated. I'm going to have this quote for tomorrow. Make sure I write that down. I'll have it for tomorrow. But the idea is, Jim Rohn daily discipline quote. But it's disciplines repeated, or errors repeated. But it's not repeated for disciplines. It's something active that you do for discipline. But anyway, the point is you keep accumulating whatever you do repeatedly, you're going to turn into. That's your identity. That's who you are, right? It's that's your heap. And so, so what I've done for the last 40, today would be 42 days, is I said, and the purpose of this video about this guy who was overweight is he went to this person who went to this, I don't know, you want to call him a guru, a doctor, whatever you want to call him. It was a Japanese doctor, I think. And he said, all I want you to do every day is drink a glass of water. Wake up and drink a glass of water. And the guy's like, well, what's that going to do for me? I mean, I get it. I wake up in the morning, I'm probably dehydrated a little bit, but you do mean like drink a gallon of water every day? He's like, do you want me to? And then the doctor's like, no. He's like, we're not trying to heal your body with this. We're trying to create a new identity for yourself, an identity. So that's all I want you to do. So for 3 months, just wake up every morning, drink a glass of water. Don't miss a day, right? And then come back to me. And so the guy doesn't think this is going to help at all. And we'll watch the video eventually on Morning Matters, or at least parts of it. But the point being is what he's doing is he's saying, look, just do something in the positive every day to create your identity. Hey, build your discipline muscle, create the identity. I'm someone that follows through. I can do this. And yeah, it's small. It's only a glass of water. But doing something small, if you do 1% every single day, the small grains of sand that you're adding to your heap will eventually become who you are. You create more discipline. You are someone who follows through. You create that. And it's not about the activity. It's so funny because I'm going through all these things where I'm talking to these people who are, or I'm seeing these videos of people, and it's like, people like, well, I just walk like 30 minutes every day, or I just do this, or I just move around. And I'm seeing it from different avenues. And it's all the small stuff, just repeated, and just like, the people who have addictions, have issues, have problems. It's just making the same mistake, small mistakes every single day. So all the time, or once a week, or whatever it is that they do that creates their identity. So the goal is to start doing it. So I did the water. I didn't do it for 3 months. I added more, but I only did it for like a month and a half. And but I never said I was going to do it for 3 months. It's just what was happening in the video. And so now I made the list a little bit harder. Right. So yeah, maybe that will be today's Morning Matters. We'll just talk about the list, and maybe you can make one for yourself. And so the objective is to become 1% better every single day, every single morning. And it should be easy. If it's too hard, if you have to think about it, if you're like, if it's a health thing, if you can't do 10 push-ups, do 1 push-up. If you can't do 1 push-up, get in every day I'm going to go and get into the push-up stance, right? On the floor for, 10 seconds. That's like, it should be something that you're like, this is so simple that it's ridiculous and preposterous for me not to do it, right? So that is the point of it. And then you want to do that for up to 3 months, and so at least 3 months, I would say. So I'm on day 42. So here's my 1%ers, if you want to know my 1%, my 1% things. And I decided to go through basically the aspects of my life that I want to fix. So each morning for the last 42 days, 41, 42. Today's day 43. I had $1. Well, I know I'm starting this. So here's what's also happened. Oh, one last thing before I give you my 1%. Is the 1%, you can do more than the 1%, but you don't have to, right? That's what I've been doing. So like I have here's the basic things I got to do, but as I've gotten better at some of the things and I've gotten a little stronger, I've done more, but I don't Oh, I don't say I have to. As long all I have to do is the 1%, which is very easy, right? So you'll see what I'm talking about right now. So when I started this off, my 1% was put $1 in my savings account every morning, every day. Put $1 in my investing account every day. Make my bed. It's pretty simple. Make my bed. Drink a cup of green tea in the morning. I've never drank coffee, but green tea is something that I've learned helps. You're supposed to drink even more than that, but I'm gonna do my 1 cup of green tea, so I don't have like that morning. I don't have a morning habit of drinking anything, so I'm doing the green tea. So $1 in investing, $1 in savings, make the bed, green tea, and then it was do 10 push-ups and do 10 squats. All right, so 10 squats and 10 push-ups, which for me was easy. Like I was trying to do before I did this. I was like, oh, I'm gonna start with 10. I'm gonna add one every day for like a year, and it was getting ridiculously hard. And I was like, well, I'll just do it in sets, and I'll break it up into sets, and I'll do this, and then obviously I gave up because it got too hard, right? And I didn't build my discipline yet. So that's all. That's it. That's my 1% that I've done every single day. So green tea is a health thing. Push-ups, squats, 10 a piece, which is a health thing. Make the bed, just something I've heard that 100 times of people saying, just get up and make your bed every day, and something that I don't do. So it's just helped the organization. And am I missing one? I think that's it. $1 investing, $1 savings, push-ups, squats, green tea, make the bed, 6. That's all. And so I've been done that every single day. And what has it done? I will tell you now, I actually wake up in the morning, I do 16. So today I did 16. I'm up to 16 squats and 16 push-ups. And the way I've increased those, and I'm up to $1 in savings and $2 in investing, right? And so, and the good thing about the dollar invest, actually, I start my day with the investing thing because I wake up and I have the habit of looking at my phone, right? As a lot of us do, and I'm going to work on that as well. But at least then I can go, all right, let me just transfer $1 from my checking account to my savings account and transfer $2 to my investing account. And it just gets me started. It's like, okay, I've already started my routine. I've already started my 1%. So let's get up. Let's make the bed. Let me do the squats. I do my squats, and then I do the squats, and then I make the bed, and then I do the push-ups. And then I'm like, all right, all I got to do is my green tea now. There you go. All I got to do is go down and say, oh, excuse me, there's 7. I spend 1 minute on Bright Futures. I knew there was one more. I was just forgetting. So so it's 1 minute. That's it. I just got to spend 1 minute either writing something down, doing a thought, making video. I just got to do 1 minute of Bright Futures, right? So to get my business going. I knew there was one more. I was forgetting. So I'm already doing that now, right? I've spent more than 1 minute. This is a Bright Futures joint. My morning matters now. So you can see it in the background. Actually, you can't see in the background. Now you can see it in the background. There we go. So, well, it's in the background. You really can't see in the background, but this is what we'll watch tomorrow. I was going to watch it today, but we've only got 4 minutes left of this. So let me come back here. And so with the last 4 minutes, so one of the other things that I'm working on, so that's today basically, is one, and I'm going to share this. I'll share it more again tomorrow. But we did start 7 minutes late, so I can go 7 minutes a little over. So if you're watching this and you're like, okay, where do I start? Start there. Figure out what your 1%. And again, if it's anything that makes you say, okay, well, it's gonna be a little bit of a struggle. I'm gonna do then that's too hard. It should be simple. Drink a glass of water. do one squat. Do less than one squat. Stand up. Stand in the squat position and think about doing a squat. Like, it should be something that's really, really simple that you're going to do. Because remember, the goal of this is not to get better. Now, it's funny, I have been getting better. The reason I added more push-ups and squats is because doing now 16 squats. Like, basically what I did was I did 10 for a while. I don't even know how long. And then I was just like, it was so easy. I was like, let me just do one more. And I went to 11 squats and 11 push-ups. And I did that for like a week or two. And then it got so easy. I just added one more. So if adding the one more is super hard, then don't add it, right? If it's going to stop, if there's a marketable difference between doing a little bit more, any kind of difference, if it feels any harder in your mind, like, oh man, I got to get up and I got to do 20 squats, or, I don't know, I don't feel like doing that, right? Then it's too hard. Like, it should be like, the thought process should be, I got to do it. It's nothing. Doing a minute of Bright Futures. Like, if I forgot to do that, I think one time I was like, I got all the way to bed and that whole day, and I was like, oh my God, I didn't do the minute of Bright Futures. I was like, it's a minute. I can let me just take out my notebook and I'll write for 1 minute some thoughts. And by the way, I end up usually doing a lot more than 1 minute on Bright Futures. And I still have aspects of going to the gym and I do other things, but the 1% is like I got to get that done because I'm building that discipline. And I try to do it all before the day. Like, and that's like the first thing I do in the day to get now it's like, hey, my whole day, even if I mess up the rest of the day, it doesn't matter because I've already gone 1% in the right direction. So even if, I don't say this to myself, but even if I did like sleep all day long and or just watch TV or just blew the whole day away, at least I got my 1 minute. I got my 1%. I did my 1% in the right direction. And it starts to spiral. And obviously, I try to do more. So I was going to go through this. I'm not going to go through it. We'll do that. We'll save that for tomorrow. Tomorrow morning matters. I know. Yeah. We'll save it for tomorrow. We'll just make today about the 1% and adding the grain of sand. So today, do it now. Figure out what your 1% is going to be. What's your one thing? And it could be multiple things like I have now. It could be one thing. It could be just drink the glass of water. If drinking the glass of water is going to get you started, but commit to it. Say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start my discipline, start my mind, get my 1% going, start building my heap of sand, my heap of the identity of who I am. And I want that person to be someone who follows through, someone who is disciplined, someone who can become better, who's always improving. If these are things that you want to be, then this is how you start. You start small, you start easy, and build from there. So it's 6:00. That's it for Morning Matters today. I'll be back here. I'm going to be here every morning, 5:30 to 6. Be on time tomorrow. I got to change I actually woke up at like 4 and then I woke up at 5 and I thought I set my alarm clock for 5 and I realized I set my alarm clock for 5:15 and I've been waking up in anticipation for this. And then I just didn't have enough time to do my 1% and get all this stuff organized. And I'm not even on TikTok because I wanted to get started. I don't want to lose all my time. So we'll get more organized as we go and we'll get better as we go. But for today, Morning Matters is in the books, and I hope every single one of you has a bright future. And let's create that. Talk to you soon.